Hello, everybody. Hello! 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 Hello. We are here in this after RP because story time. Yep. Ah, sorry. Yeah, that's better. Oh, yep. Wait. Oh, that's better. Yeah, we're going to tell you the story of Mick Mick and Hourglass. So yeah. And we'll be moving between scenes every part to get the feelings of, yeah. See you. The story will begin now. The story in the next scene. Mick and, like, Hourglass, I heard, were not always immortal. They were their version of Amy and Cream. I'll let Dark Iron take over from here. Okay. If you were confused by that, you're allowed to. Anyway, Mick used to be a bunny like Cream, and Hourglass a hedgehog like Sonic and Amy. Now, of course, it might sound weird, but they come from a different world. One where Sonic didn't really care for Amy. In fact, he hated her. But this is just that universe. And no one knew that. Except Amy, Cream, Mick Mick and Hourglass. But there were a couple things. Hourglass and Amy were boyfriend and girlfriend because, yeah. Anyway, and Cream and Mick Mick were best friends. So they would just hang out and have fun. Until one day, an accident happened. Only Amy saw it, and Hourglass saw it, but they were walking together. And something fell on top of Hourglass. Sorry if my voice sounded weird for a minute. I guess the vessel must be trying to get used to having us talk. Either way, something happened. For some reason, Hourglass was actually something fell on him, and then which caused a bridge he was on to break under him. Amy was just by him, but not to the point where she would have fell off. Anyway, the thing knocked him over into a pile that appeared to have a bunch of machinery. This place was at, you wanna know where this place is? The place was like a weird area. It wasn't a normal place for machinery. It simply looked terrible, like it was built and forgotten. The place didn't even look. In fact, the place just appeared out of nowhere. Hourglass and Amy decided to look. Sorry about the chat either way. The machinery somehow went alive and, well, activated and decided to start tearing away at him. It caused his limbs to be stretched out to the extreme. to the point where he would appear 8 feet tall. Yeah.
Yeah, I prefer not to talk about that. Pretty much. I hated that.
Anyway, it also caused his voice to no longer be the same, as his voice could never stay on tone. It could get louder or soft. It was random, like the loudness and tone could completely change, to the point where he had to use a voice spot, basically a voice changer, to keep his voice sounding normal. Now, he didn't sustain any major wounds, except for his voice besides his voice and limbs, he was perfectly fine, besides the trauma. But Hourglass was able to go on with his life. Amy was worried about Cream and Mick Mick, but Hourglass had something cooked up to prevent them from worrying. When Amy and Hourglass got back, after a couple days, they met up with Cream and Mick Mick. Both of them asked Hourglass what happened to Hourglass, and Hourglass simply replied,
"Oh, something only I go for growing up, I guess."
Mick Mick and Cream thought this was good enough, since they were both 6. They thought it was good enough.
Yeah.
But then they would have fun with all their stuff. Sorry if the voices aren't coming out right. We haven't recorded one of these in a while. Bleh. And yeah, either way. But Happy Times was not destined. For you see, there would be worse things to come. Cream and Mick Mick were best of friends, you know. Or at least while they were alive in the same dimension, but that would change eventually. One day, they decided to have a sleepover, but something weird happened. For some weird reason, they had a shared nightmare, one they couldn't wake from. So they decided force themselves awake from. So they decided to survive until they woke up. So they did. Mick and Cream were able to survive the thing. At least the nightmare, but the thing is, it wasn't, but they would never wake up. Truly, they'd only survive the nightmare. For you see, someone who hated vanilla decided to summon monsters, demons if you will, to give nightmares to Cream, which, well, just to Cream, but it went over to me too, if we hadn't shared it. But the thing is, when they survived and were so brave, The monsters got angry and decided to kill them right before they woke up. So Mick Mick and Cream felt no pain. What would happen after? Could only get worse. Meet an Hourglass after the funeral decided to go to Eggman to seek help in making and comforting Vanilla. Now, since this is a different dimension, of course things are going to be different. In fact, Vanilla wanted herself to have a robot made for her. One of this Eggman, who was actually respected, felt bad and wanted to help Vanilla, so he made a robot of her with a bunch of memories, except for the bad ones. And said, and told them how it worked. Then, but here's the thing, you normally expect someone like Robotnik, Dr. Bible Robotnik, with the genius Eggman to be evil, to try to the robot as an evil thought, but he didn't. Instead, it was purely innocent. It was just a dream. It would not be used in any other way except to be a daughter to Vanilla. It would have the same personality somehow. It would have the same personality because it was able to do dimensional travel and go in between dimensions. And, yeah. I decided to be kind. Either way, after that, life began being normal-ish. They knew that commitment wasn't remade, so the robot thing didn't remember Mick Mick. Yeah, I know. Either way, Force it still can't be stopped. It can always get worse. Way worse. One day, Hourglass and Amy decided to go exploring again. This time in an old basement-like area. It was like a weird castle that was underground. The top just appeared recently, so they couldn't tell what it was like. But things would, of course, happen. This story would have stopped by now if it didn't. Then we wouldn't be here. Amy and Hourglass went into it and saw a bunch of ghosts, but not like normal ghosts you'd find in a world of Sonic, with 06 being a different timeline and all, being the only humanoid. Ones that are very humanoid, you can see. They're not Boom Boos either. They were of weird type, like Mobians, but different. They seem to be mostly Mobian, but they seem to only appear that way. Apparently, they learned that these were basically like in Jay Coy's Nightmare series, highest in demons. But they didn't have, but these were abandoned, forgotten. Ones that not even the rest of their kinds knew about. And then they cowered when they heard something. Then came in another form. It seemed to be very violent. It was impossible. It seemed similar to a highest, but also similar to a demon. Other ghosts began to come around, but these would appear to be different from the others. Instead of being highest demons, they were ghosts like poltergeists, phantoms, wraiths, you name it. Basically, all the ghosts from Phasmophobia are here, but some were different, like a little different, like the phantoms. Mason Demon decided to tell them all about the ghosts there. The phantoms of this of the world they live in are soulless. Nothing. They are basically the pain or anger left behind when one dies. If they let go, a phantom could be left behind. If the demands have not been met, and this thing will only go away if the demands are met, or basically to get rid of the phantom, he must give the true final wishes of the person it represents. They can also be born out of living. The living, if one makes one via a spell. Yes, there's magic in Sonic World. There has been for so long. Let's just go along. Anyway, the weird one that brought all the new ghosts in, looked at them with terrible bloody eyes. Not like that. It simply looked at them with a crazed expression of bloody eyes. See, the form could not be completely seen by Amy or Hourglass for a minute, but then they saw it. It appeared to be a weird creature. They assumed it was just about their size, about 3 feet. Well, about Amy's size. But no, it seemed to be more Hourglass size, since his arms and legs were stretched so much that it changed his size from about 3.5 to 4, or now he is about 8 feet tall. He was 8 feet tall at this point, and the thing was just light was actually taller than him. The reason it looked so short is because it was crouched down. With that, it was on all fours. And stretching out and putting his head as low enough to be normal size. But then, it decided to attack them. They were able to escape the castle since the castle kept the ghost that the creature and the ghost that with it inside. The other Hyacinth, they were able to free the other Hyacinth demon from the castle, but that creature was neither one. It didn't have anything. That wasn't the end, though. When they escaped, they suddenly found themselves in a fake hide-and-seek. They knew the name, because Son.exe does exist in their world, but yeah, there's a Son and exe in their world. But at this point, they were getting tired. Extremely tired. So they decided to rest and hide and seek. But then something weird happened. Monsters decided to come. As Amy and Hourglass were running away, they decided to take refuge. Since they were running away from a bunch of monsters, they thought the best place would be in a cave. So they went to the closest cave they could. And you know where this is going? Right here. Nicely they found boxes that they hid in and decided to sneak around monsters to go deeper in because they knew there was a way out. But then weird stuff happened. A bunch of rocks started to fall on top of them. One even hit him so hard on the head that it caused it hit her head hard enough to send her face into the ground and make a bunch of wounds, including a nose, blood, eyes coming from the bottom of the eyes. And that, there were also a bunch of, it also caused body wounds. And since they hurt so much, Amy was trying to stop it from hurting with her own hands, so she was apparently bleeding when she grabbed theirs, so her hands ended up having blood. Now, of course this sounds edgy, but Hourglass was hit a lot, but he didn't get affected too much. But Amy was taking it badly, since these things were not just falling, they were being launched at her. It appeared. As they kept hearing something, then hitting the rocks. First was to just send them to the area, but then the second one would send them straight down, so fast that it caused shockwaves if it didn't hit anyone. And it seemed they were intentionally being aimed at Amy. He kept having to crouch, kept being knocked down, and was overall very injured. In fact, it got to the point where her eyes, her irises, and pupils changed color. Her pupils changed color to red. Then they were barely, and then one thing. A stalactite hit both of them in a string force, stabbing through Amy and Hourglass. One for each, of course. Hourglass tried to protect Amy, but was hit with one right before and stalactite was launched at him and hit him. So he wasn't able to block the stalactite that would be above Amy. And then a bunch of alien machines, destroyed ones were ripped apart and then thrown down at Amy and Hourglass. Amy did not survive. She died. Hourglass was just barely alive. In fact, the monsters at this point were afraid, because they never intended to do this. They would have taken them, they might have killed them, but not in such a painful way. It would have been instant. The monsters turned out to be the creature from the castle, but even he was afraid. He would give them a death for bothering him, and that's it. But how did he escape the castle? Well, opening a gate apparently allowed him to get out, but all the ghosts around him just were able to be cut off because they were free. But the monster saw who did. The son who hated Amy was the one who did it. Throwing down all the boulders and the stalactites, launching them at Amy and Hourglass decide what to give them. But in fact, no. Was going to go overkill, make sure no one knew what happened. Hourglass didn't know this and hasn't known this, and in fact he hasn't noticed it until he became an immortal being. But either way, Hourglass decided he would help Amy at least get her body back, even if it meant him being killed. And that's what he did. He went back, climbed the wall of Freedom's City. He basically climbed the walls of an abandoned place. Even the monsters were tilted out by the creature, as was basically a weird EXE. And he was able to bring the body back to to the home of to their home. But then the last thing that happened, Hourglass died. You may be wondering, if everyone died and Cream is only replaced by Lola, then what are your versions of Cream? Thanks, Russell, for saying that question. You're welcome. Anyway, since the premier of that world decided to watch everything play out. Well, probably, but I myself won't listen. After Hourglass got the body back, oh yeah, basically during the funeral, Cream and Mick Mick were watching with me the funeral. They want to know how they died, but I want to let them know they were actually trying to watch Amy and Hourglass the entire time, but I knew what was going to happen because I have to make sure fate remains the same. For I cannot interfere unless dimensions are harmed. And that they were supposed to die. It wasn't supposed to be so gruesome. They were supposed to die in peace. Or else I would have interfered. Either way, during the funeral, Mick Mick noticed some things like how badly they were injured. Like, despite them being cleaned up, yeah, they cleaned up the body to be for the burial. This is weird. Look, there are many dimensions. Some have slightly different traditions. They clean the body enough just to look presentable. Well, he noticed that there was a lot of wounds. And Hourglass seems to have been the most affected. Then, yeah. Either way, Hourglass seems to be very wounded, like he went very far. Mick Mick was the more innocent of the two, obviously, but he was also way more perceptive than a majority of them. Well, he was more perceptive than Cream, but would also be no more. He even tried to protect Cream's innocence. And he asked me what happened, and I gave in because I knew he would have found out. So I told him everything. And that's it. Then Mick Mick got mad at the Sonic of this world and wanted and to kill him. So he wanted to kill this version of Sonic himself. And in fact, and also the person who decided to kill them. Because they wanted to make Vanilla suffer. Because the person who killed them ended up killing them. Because those creatures that were attacking them in dreams to kill them. To even appear at all. Wanted to make Vanilla and make Vanilla's life terrible. In fact, they didn't even kill him. How do I know all this? I can tell people's mind if I am able to look at them. I can tell what they're gonna do and anything else. Pretty much I had to make sure everything goes to plan, but I had to let them die. I didn't want to let them die in such process, but they were supposed to die right there. I'm not supposed to interfere unless with destiny unless it causes the end of a dimension. Then I will interfere and change it. But yeah, after a bit, Amy and Cream reunited after the funeral as spirits. But I decided to let them have another life. Hourglass and Mick Mick couldn't join them though. For they had their own. Because they should probably have a rest. So, in another dimension, I sent their souls into new bodies, which were just like their old ones. They were still Amy and Cream, but they just were in a world different from their own. But they remember nothing of their past life. So I thought it'd be good, but apparently the person who hated Vanilla and the Sonic of the world that hated Amy decided to go to the world they were in. They disguised themselves and are apparently leaders of a civilization, and most people hated Amy and Cream because of this. In fact, only the Sonic of that world, Big, the General Sonic cast, including Sally, Eggman of all people, Sonic, especially loved, was fond of Amy and Vanilla. In fact, the chaotic too, but otherwise, everyone hated Amy and Cream. Rouge was just tolerant of both, was tolerant of Amy, but liked Cream a lot. But that didn't stop them. But one day, something happened. They decided, well, because when each one was born in that world, I decided to make Mick Mick and Hourglass immortal. I made new bodies. Mick Mick, immortal form, looks like looks similar to a bunny, but they're like the most Mobian out of them two. Being super short and having a somewhat short, being only about 3 feet tall, but also looked to have some weird things going on, including a weird winged bat and a little halo on his head. He was basically adorable. So, in fact, it was adorable to the point where I said, "Aww." But Hourglass was a bit different. These were all his pain and torture. I was giving them their souls I didn't create their vessels in this. I decided to let their souls decide. Basically, depending on everything that happened to their souls, at least what they remember, their normal mind would take that. But Hourglass became real. See, he would have a giant head that could open up in any way, shape, or form. So, yeah. He became what Hourglass would be extremely tall and lanky and skinny, similar to someone like Slender Man or Siren Head. But he yeah, either way, I'll tell him everything. And sure, it would be, but his head would be able to open in many ways, as many ways as he could possibly desire. And yeah, but basically, the head had a bunch of tentacles coming out from the very sides. His head even looked weird. Like it was moving, of course, but not in a good. But it didn't look right. It looked more torn apart sometimes. In fact, his face would have opened every time. Basically, he was no longer hurt. Apparently all the pain, strife, and stuff caused him at least there's more for him to twist to his pain and suffering. Whenever he talked, if he were to talk about anything, he decided if he talked about anything, but if he wanted to, he could make his face stretch to make the mouth bigger. Basically, he was raged. In fact, he was simply so hurt that even his immortal form reflected that. Well, I had to already make a second video because of something. So yeah. Anyway. Yeah. That's it. So yeah. Sorry about if this is boring, but then came another part. Now, one day in the bunch of dimensions, I made a replacement for a certain EXE. It was fine for a while, but when they went off, EXEs decided to attack them. Dimensions and even there was. In fact, I did have something just in case. Okay. Well, Amy and Cream were able to help, but how? Well, simple. They didn't know of him, but he never called them. In fact, I never brought them here, neither did Hourglass and Mick Mick. Basically, they were thrown out of their own world by everyone who hated them. Next part will be in the next, in the private server, since at least from when I got it was free. Now I was saying, Amy and Cream were thrown out by everyone that hated them in a weird ritual. Thrown out of the dimension. Amy and Cream wished to at the very least, be close, stay together. But the people that hated them were led by the side of the world that hated her. The side that hated her from the world she was first lived in before being brought back into another, and the one that hated the Cream's mom from the other dimension denied them that, even pushing them far away and making sure they couldn't even be close to each other. I was walking we went past some dimensions when Cream bumped into me. She was just floating. No, they were still alive, but they were unconscious due to dimensional travel being hard to do. But then again, it didn't matter. I saw Amy fall away, and I knew it. And then I looked and saw what happened. And I knew exactly what happened by just looking at the eyes of the two that made everyone hate them. That made everyone hate Amy and Cream. And I saw everything. I already saw that they were already being treated badly, but this was too far. But I was contemplating ending them immediately, but I decided to give them a chance to basically. I thought they could have 2 years. You know what? if at least half of them felt bad at all for what they did, at least half of the population that hated them, I would leave the dimension be. Now, the first year, I gave them 2 of their years. Now, the first year was going good, 35%. I thought maybe more would, but for some, more would easily be realizing what they've done was terrible. And I would be happy, but for some reason, at only 37% of them ever did. Turns out the leaders decided to show a bunch of falsified evidence that it was correct. Now, those that felt bad, but the evidence included me. And the fact that I would have destroyed their world if they did not send Amy and Cream in between dimensions. Now, this angered me. And after 2 years, I decided to make a new dimension and have that would be a basic copy, and then send everyone that felt bad and everyone who was innocent. Okay, again. Basically, send everyone who was innocent, the children, those that reported what happened, and those that didn't hate Amy or Cream to that world. It was basically copy. So, but would be a lot more fruitful. But then I would have, no, for some reason, the parent that hated Amy and the person who hated Cream's mother, the ones from the other world, were nowhere to be found. So, and I wasn't going to look for them while I already had a problem. In fact, I was making sure Amy was still alive, and I had to make it so she had to go the long way round to find Cream, to make sure that the stand-in EXC didn't decide and didn't fall her to straight to her and Cream. In fact, I could even keep an eye on her, and in fact, at the very least, make sure he followed certain rules that he was already placed under. But I decided not to not destroy the dimension, but instead freeze it in time until this problem was over. It was the best I could do. So I decided to go on. I saw a bunch of other figures too, some which could fit in dimensions, but I decided to not be super aggressive. One, Maurice, was basically a crazed Sonic. One that figured out stuff and went crazy. He did have children with Amy. Maurice did, but this was a name change for him. He didn't care, and he decided to go on with it. But he essentially got to a bunch of other people to basically be his family. It was, but I'm getting off topic. This is just a reference. But Maurice was basically a genius, but I decided not to Anyway, since he never directly infuriated me. Sure, he killed Amy's versions of Amy and probably Cream sometimes, but at the very least at that time, easily make them again. And he didn't do it himself. He would often have one of his children do it, and Maury seemed to avoid me, but he just avoided. But he wouldn't stand any chance against me, of course. So he would just avoid me. In fact, his biological daughter, his version of Amy and his biological daughter would sometimes kill, but even being a descendant, whether by blood, adoption, or whatever, would make of any version would make it so I didn't kill you immediately. Didn't want to kill you immediately. Either way, after I watched some of it, I decided to keep an eye on Amy. Helped her went through a bunch of different EXE worlds, dimensions that I had made for them, including the replacement taking over the first one, and then did a bunch of stuff, and then finally, when they met each other, the replacement EXE decided to break through a barrier in a dimension I made as a failsafe. In fact, it already cracked, so I had to use a lot of power just to maintain it. Sorry if this being but it's the best I can do. Okay, after a bit, I could, but before, in between that, I basically hope our version of Amy go through everything. She went through all sorts of trials and tribulations. In fact, the only one that went through more than our version of Amy was Hourglass, as he, even being immortal, didn't stop him from going through pain and suffering. As, unlike Mick Mick, which would stay behind with Cream, he went off and decided to do stuff, but he often went through. In fact, he was looking good. Different than when we came back, but after some words that were about to be destroyed, however, by this either way, sorry if the voice is too quiet, but either way, we just every time we would have to keep protecting all of the people from it. And I kept reminding him of that the day that Amy died. And even then, he went through more suffering still. I won't say anything about it because it wouldn't be good to bring that up. He doesn't regret anything, but I ain't bringing any more up. Anyway, but soon he decided to break down everything, and we had to fight. Me, Amy, and Cream had to fight it, since Hourglass and Mick Mick were busy with all the monsters and minions it had. We were able to beat the EXE, but it took a lot including me having to give Amy and Cream essentially more powerful than everything that has ever been introduced to Sonic combined, and multiplied by 20. I myself would basically be that amount of power would be able to hurt me, and would normally only be enough to hurt me. But here's the thing, I can't die. In fact, the most I can do is be stunned, or I can at most be stunned, unless you use something to, like, try to trap my spirit. But even then, not all of me will be trapped. In fact, my default will always be going to the closest version of my Cream or whatever, and tell them exactly what to do. I could go through multiple of them. In fact, I'll basically make a cocoon around them. An impenetrable cocoon, and then they'll come out very powerful. In fact, it's the most powerful they'll ever be, but I only say that for certain occasions. In fact, we even decided to have fun, since he was so... a lot of the stuff we said was actually like songs from the mod, Song.exe mod from the client. We met many. I won't tell them because of copyright, but Song.exe mod, we actually talked a lot. In fact, we actually talked a lot of the lyrics made by Mammy Moyo, or whoever that guy is called. You know, the one who made an entire mega collection of all the songs that they finished, including Final Escape, the first 3 songs, Cycles, Endless, the Milk, Roundabout, Fatality, Sunshine. I already said. The Final Escape. And even one with the song with the black face and just eyes. I can't remember the name though. Basically the one with Experian. Yeah, I'm probably getting copyright for that. Well, we are probably getting copyright for that. But either way, there was even... we even met the ones from Manual Blast. Well, at least a version. Me and Amy did right before we got to Cream, but then they helped us, cheered us on, while we were fighting the main threat. We won. I erased that EXE stand-in from existence, and life returned home. And I decided to unfreeze the dimension that I froze. This is the time in. Then I made the Amy and Cream you know today. At least our version. The only color version. Immortal. They look just like normal Amy and Cream. and pretty much they were pretty much for that. And more from now. Amy knows much more. Of course we then found this world.
Yeah, pretty much.
And we decided to try to, at the very least, talk about this world, your realm. We can't really go to physically. Others we can, but yours we cannot go to very easily. We can make a version of this in your head, and fan art and stuff, but it probably won't be like us. It's hard to explain, but for some reason your dimensions we cannot physically enter still, but the vessel was just at least not entirely, but the vessel could at the very least see us. In fact, he imagined something similar to us at once. So we decided to at the very least see if he could help us. And we found out this vessel, and yeah, he basically helped us to actually communicate with you. But that's all for the story of Mick Mick and Hourglass. I know it's long and it was probably boring, but it was the story of the four of our Amy and
Of me, Hourglass out.
and I skipped over some details, but they can be seen later. For this has been Dork Diary. See ya!
Bye.
Let's go, huh? See ya.
Yeah, we'll see you later.